Welcome to the Confessions of a Group X Instructor podcast. For group exercise junkies and enthusiastic classgoers, we'll explore and uncover authentic, thought-provoking, and heartwarming industry education and inspiration from entertaining, badass fitness pros. And now your host, creator of Warrior Rhythm, Warrior Strength, Warrior Combat, Warrior Revolution, and Warrior Kids Group fitness brands, Ellen DeWord. Here we grow.
Hello, everybody. I'm so excited to announce Emily Splichal, our guest today. Emily, thank you so much for coming on.
Of course, thank you. I'm excited.
I know. Emily and I just hopped on where we record on Zoom to record this show for all of you. And it was so fun to see each other's faces because we actually do see quite a bit of each other across the country, but have really never even had a conversation.
I know. And that's actually no excuse so bad that we've never, it's just conferences are super busy and crazy. So
yeah, our hair is on fire and we're there to meet, other, people and pros. And, it's just, so where do you live?
I am in Arizona. Most people know me as from New York City, though. That's where I was for 20 years. That's where I started my fitness career. And then I moved to Arizona 4 years ago, kind of during the COVID. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Actually, let's start there. I want to give us a snapshot of like who you are. And obviously we're going to be talking about foot care. That's Emily's a doctor, and we're going to be talking all about why foot care matters, how you can take care of your feet, how you can prevent injury, all the things. So why don't we start with like who are you and how did you get into fitness and how did you develop a passion for caring for feet and how did you end up owning and operating this company?
Yeah, absolutely. So I absolutely love fitness. My background is actually forensics, and not a lot of people know that. So I was CSI, crime scene side of things, living in New York City. And then I just kind of was like, I don't want to deal with that side of things, like deal with death. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go into fitness. So I walked into a Crunch Fitness, the one on 42nd and 8th. And I was like, I want to be a personal trainer. This was 24 years ago. And they looked me up and down and were like, you're hired. And I was like, I don't think that qualifies me.
Oh my gosh. Wait, why? Because you were cute? Were they like?
I think just because they were like, you're like, I was a gymnast for 13 years. So they were like, you look like you would know fitness or something.
That's so funny.
I know. I didn't know what I was doing then.
Wait, hold on. Time out. P.S. People always give me their background on the show. And almost every time I have a guest on, they're like, I got into fitness because first I was a dancer. You're the first one ever, and probably henceforth forevermore, that was a CSI girl. Okay.
Really? Oh, yes. So forensics. Yes.
Yeah.
Went from crime scene to crunches. I don't know. But yeah. So again, that was 24 years ago, New York City, 2001, which is when I started, and taught through fitness. And then I found group exercise because one of the group exercise instructors didn't show up. And they're like, we need a trainer to throw in there. And I was elated. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And I love like the sculpt based classes. That was like my jam. Plus, the cool thing is you get paid even if no one shows up for your class. I was like, you know what? This is great. But yeah, and then I fell in love with spinning and taught almost every aspect of it. While teaching all of these classes, I started getting injured because of being a gymnast for 13 years. Then I was suddenly doing 20 spinning classes a week, getting injured and continuously in physical therapy, teaching physical therapy. And I was like, this isn't sustainable for me specifically to have to use my body as my tool. So I looked at graduate schools, and that's where I went into podiatry school. So I'm a podiatrist, a functional podiatrist. And as I went through my entire podiatry school training, I stayed within fitness. So I kept teaching classes. I kept training a few clients, which was a critical part of my story because I always wanted to have fitness be some facet of my career. So then 2008, when I graduated podiatry school, I was like, oh, I've been in fitness for almost 10 years now. It was 2009. So I created my first workout, which is called Catwalk Confidence. And it is a workout for women who wear heels. This is definitely during the Sex and the City days. And that actually springboarded my career and really my media. So I do a lot of stuff in media. And it was because of the juxtaposition of a podiatrist and then this high heel class. And it was
Right.
just so media that media
Sexy,
was,
nerdy, like sexy and nerdy.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You're just like, what is this? So it was incredible. And then the barefoot running boom happened. So 8, 9, 10,
Okay.
remember the minimal shoes, born to run. This is me now at the start of my career. I started speaking at the SCW conferences, and I was like, oh, I need to tap into that niche because it's going to be, I just knew it was going to be something from a category that was very, very large. And I was like, I'm a podiatrist. I'm in fitness, feet, shoes. I'm going to own the niche of barefoot training, barefoot science, barefoot fitness, and just kind of this whole side. So that's really what I focused on. And then fast forward a little bit, I actually took a break from my residency, went back to school, got my master's in human movement. And then that became the glue between my fitness career, my medical degree, and then the glue is my master's in human movement. So that's what bridges it.
I see.
Yes. And then I started my education company, which is called EBFA Global. And we have a barefoot training specialist certification, Bare Workout, Barefoot RX. We have now probably a dozen certifications that started off of this barefoot training trend 2010 when I saw this opportunity, right? And then continuing to fast forward, then I saw that there was a need for a product that would essentially target the same message and focus of what I do. And in 2017, I launched Nabosa, which is a sensory-based product line, uses texture to stimulate the nerves in the feet and the hand. And that's kind of the next evolution of my career from trainer, Group X, educator to now fitness product. And then over here, I'm a doctor on the side doing my thing.
It all works together symbiotically and synergistically, though. All those silos work.
They do. And I think that from someone who's not in the fitness industry, or if someone just like quickly glanced at like the zig and the zagging of my career and that I have several businesses, that they'd be like, it's kind of a lot, right? And I'm like, actually, no, they all feed into each other.
Yeah.
Right? When I teach at a conference, I'm teaching about feet, foot to core, barefoot science, footwear, which is elevating the fitness professional's experience, but then that's also how I get patients. That's how I sell product. That's how I sell certifications. So they all interplay with each other when you actually like go deep and look at all of the kind of the consistent thread throughout them.
Yeah. Well, I have a question for you. You said you're a functional podiatrist. Is that kind of like functional medicine, how they use that word to mean you're treating the individual as a whole? You're treating root causes, not symptoms. Is that what you mean by functional? I
Yes.
love it. Oh my
100%.
gosh.
Yes. Yes.
I'm very into functional nutrition and functional medicine. And so I love that as soon as you said that, I'm like, oh my gosh, I already know we're cut from the same cloth.
Yes.
And I also loved in your story, you're just kind of introducing yourself to me and to our audience. I love that you were like, you saw this opportunity and you decided to seize it, but you also seized it with the confidence of I'm the one. I'm going to own this space. Like, oh, that's big boss energy. I like it. Okay. So I didn't know. We'll circle back to the certification piece because I didn't know you had that going on also in the fabric of who you are.
Yes.
So let's dive in. Let's talk general foot health and why is it so important to us? And what are sort of common issues that you see?
Yeah. So I think that if we are talking about just general, everyone should be thinking about their feet. Group X instructors, trainers, people who are in the fitness industry. Again, particularly group exercise, because you are doing the workout. You're not just standing there. So our feet are really getting a beating. They're just used and abused every day. They're a critical part of the movement, of the exercises that you're doing. Let's say if you're doing like a dance based or like a step based or a strength based, you are using your feet for your job, right? And so focusing on foot strength, foot recovery is really important. That's probably the most important part that I would recommend and advocate, is that everyone, but particularly people in fitness and group exercise, need to be recovering their feet every single day and in a way that is easy and doesn't take away from what you're already doing. Meaning that I know that everybody is super busy. The feet are probably the last thing that people think about
Yeah.
until they have foot pain. So that's where, like our neural ball, just as an example, it's a ball that splits into two pieces so that people can easily release their feet while they're brushing their teeth. So literally stand on the domes, brush your teeth, 2 minutes, check, you did it, right? Twice a day,
Yes.
morning, evening, and you're getting a really good return
Okay.
of
So
stuff
just
like
doing it when you're brushing your teeth is the way to go.
that's all that I recommend. Yeah.
Goodness.
Yeah. So it's super, super, super easy. Or it could be like at the start of a workout, you could totally do that. Things like that are toe spacers, or just toe spacers in general.
Yeah.
Toe spacers that open up your toes. Some people will think kind of like when you get a pedicure, but this is a little bit more specific.
Okay.
So spreading the toes, you are opening up the toes, you're supporting stretching, alignment, circulation, your plantar fascia inserts in your toes. You stretch your plantar fascia when you use toe spacers. If you have bunions and hammer toes, this is a great form of recovery. It's so easy. You slide them on and go do whatever you're going to do at night anyway. Cook dinner, watch TV, whatever it is that you do.
So it's
Okay?
not like you have to dedicate time outside of your day to go through some 20-minute routine to take care of your feet.
Correct. Could
Okay.
I give you that? Sure. But most people, right? So just being in kind of a clinical space or just working with people for as long as I have, and I know that you have and the listeners have,
Yeah.
is that understanding just human nature, right? And compliancy to health decisions, habits is difficult. It's hard for human nature. So how do we resist or take down as much friction as possible? Well, let me habit stack. I know people are already brushing their teeth. I literally hope everyone has the habit of brushing their teeth.
Habit stack. That's a
That
good
was established when you were like 2 years old, probably. So can we now, when I brush my teeth, I release my feet? And you literally just kind of, okay, this is so easy. And now you are starting to make this a priority that you're like, something's missing. Oh, I didn't release my feet and I actually notice it.
Okay. Right.
Then that individual will be more inclined to want to, oh, I could actually strengthen my feet now. And then they'll be more committed.
Okay. Okay. So this is a silly little practical question. Do you think people keep their neuro balls in their bathroom?
I tell them to.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I was thinking. Okay. So
Leave it split open, leave it in your bathroom, and don't ever move it.
So just so the audience knows, I'm like, I'm going to do this. Like, for one, Emily and I have been seeing each other for the last, I don't know, 5 years around the conference circuit. And we are doing our own conference. And Naboso is actually supporting our conference and providing something really wonderful for our swag bags. And so I'm like, I'm jumping in, and I am the person, like just now that I've been on your website and looking at all your materials, I'm exactly who you just described. I don't think about my feet.
Mm-hmm.
And yet if someone ever goes to rub my feet, I just almost die. That's when I realize, like, my feet are so tired. This feels beyond good. Like,
Yeah.
your feet are just absolutely exhausted. So I know I'm not taking care of my feet. So, okay. So the neuro ball, and then what are those little knobbies? What are the little, like, the texture on it? What does that do besides feel good?
Absolutely. So the little texture, if anyone's watching the video or just, I
Yes.
guess, YouTube and watch the video, go to
Yeah.
naboco.com. But there's these tiny little pyramids that are on all of our products. Those little pyramids create a texture that we have a patent around. Here's our
Okay.
new, it has the same thing, just so people can see. That texture, which is patented, is stimulating a very specific nerve in the bottom of the feet and the palm of the hand.
Huh.
And it is the same nerve that we use to read Braille. So it's the braille nerve. And when you stimulate it, you wake up the awareness, right? So do I feel my feet? Most people don't like feel their feet or connect to their feet,
Yeah.
but I feel my feet. Oh, I'm waking up all of the muscles of my feet. There's 26 muscles in the bottom of each foot, small muscles, 26 that play an important role of posture, movement, jumping, releasing energy, all of that, that we have to wake up. And then it also increases circulation, which is part of recovery.
Okay. So do you think most people are do you think most people that work with you and your products are working to heal and correct an injury, overuse injury, plantar fasciitis, any that kind of thing? Or do you think most of them are in it for preventative?
I'd say it's actually a mix. So
Okay.
we have a lot of users who are in the minimal shoe space. So they're already wearing like the barefoot shoes. So they're very into prioritizing foot health. Those people are easy to market to because they already drank the Kool-Aid on feet. So we
Yeah.
just and like here, this can enhance your
Yes.
barefoot shoe, minimal shoe experience by recovering your feet. So that's part of our
Okay.
consumer. And then the other part are yes, they have an active foot pain. Maybe they saw something on social media and they're an athlete. So we actually work with a lot of athletes
Mhm.
who want to feel their feet faster or who know that recovery, especially recovery of the feet, is a critical part of the longevity of their sport career. And that's, I mean, we should all be thinking of ourselves as like
An
a
athlete.
$1 million athlete,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Or actually making millions of dollars as an athlete.
Yes.
You're trying to protect your asset. Like your body is your asset, right? Like you need to protect your tool of how you make money, right? And that's that's where mine as a group exercise instructor, I kept getting hurt.
Yeah.
And I was like, I need to make a decision here, right? I need to do something for the longevity of my financial career. And because my body was breaking down, I was like,
Yeah.
okay, pivot to something else.
Yeah.
An NFL athlete or an NBA or MLB or whatever it is, they want to hit that career and hold that career. And that means they have to continuously be prioritizing recovery. But group X, I would say the same thing. For all the group exercise instructors out there, if you want longevity in that career, you have to take care of your body. You have to recover like an athlete.
Yeah. Well, we are athletes. It's true. We
Yeah.
are athletes.
Yeah.
So you said feel your feet again. Do you really mean like people feeling like being aware of their feet, like they're not connected to that?
Yeah,
Huh.
most people don't think about their feet. If I ask like everyone who's listening right now, like, how often do you think about your feet?
Yeah,
Most
yeah,
people are like, meh, okay. I
yeah.
think about feet
Okay.
probably every other second.
So back to this whole barefoot thing. That's the whole like barefoot movement. So that was fortuitous for you and your career path, that whole timing of that. But
Yeah.
what do you I mean, I do a ton of barefoot exercise. I also do high impact barefoot exercise because my warrior rhythm format is yoga based, but we do a lot of we do burpees and HIIT training on the
Mhm.
yoga mat. So almost everyone is barefoot. Some people prefer to wear shoes. And then my other modalities that are not yoga based, if I'm when I'm teaching at home, I teach them barefoot. I just prefer it. But if I'm at the gym, I wear shoes because it's the policy. But so what are your thoughts and feelings about minimal shoes and barefoot shoes? Is that good for us? Is that bad for us? Like, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely love, love, love barefoot training specifically.
Okay.
Minimal shoes, because that allows people to kind of go out into the world with that natural foot strength and range of motion and stimulation. Now, certain foot types, there are exceptions to everything.
Okay.
So can every human foot in the world train barefoot and not get hurt? Well, no, there's certain exceptions, right? Certain types of flat feet that are just
Oh
really
yeah.
lax. So very lax, flat feet, flexible flat feet. Some of them may not be able to tolerate the impact and the forces going through their foot because of not necessarily a lack of strength, but because of a lack of ligament control of the foot.
Interesting.
Means it's going to translate higher. That I do, that's most of my work. When I see patients who are like, I'm trying this, I do this, I know barefoot is good, I strengthen my feet, and look at my foot, it's still like, I
Okay.
will explain to them, you have this very specific foot type,
Okay.
ligament laxity, etc. Now, having said that, every foot type, even a ligament lax foot, can control the foot position or posture a little bit, do certain things barefoot, but maybe not running
Okay.
barefoot,
I
right? That's where you're just kind of saying, like, okay, what's the activity that
so
you
maybe yoga, maybe not running for some
Sure,
people.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
that you said ligament laxity, is that what causes flat-footedness?
It's one of the causes.
Okay.
The other cause
Or
is muscle weakness. You can have muscle
it's
weakness.
not congenital, it happens, or is it congenital?
So the ligament laxity is congenital. So
Okay.
that's where when people say, "Oh, I got the bunions from my mom." Bunions are genetic, right? Bunions are kind of a bump on the side
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
the bunion is genetic. It's really not the bunion. It is the laxity of the foot that destabilizes it, that predisposes you to the bunion,
Ah,
right?
ah,
So I just like to go a little bit more specific so that we're
ah.
calling a spade,
Yeah,
right? Like we're just being
okay.
specific.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So the what about high heels? I love high heels too. I like barefoot, I like high heels, and I like gym shoes. Those are my, it's like
I know, I know. So high heels do put your foot in an unnatural position. Like that's well accepted. Everyone knows that, right?
yes.
I know that, you know that. Everyone else who wears high heels knows that. So what can you do when you are not in the high heel to recover your feet, to keep your feet strong, to wear proper footwear that is outside of that, right? I'm very much of a belief of like YOLO, you only live once,
Yeah.
moderation.
Yeah.
I lived in New York for 20 years. I'm very into fashion. And so,
Yes.
so
Yes.
I'm like, there is going to be sometimes a time and place that you want to wear your stilettos, right?
Yes.
Um, and so then I will tell women, I'm not going to tell people not to wear their high heels. I'm going to empower them to know what to do when they take them off, and I will empower them how to hold their body the right way to minimize the stress
Ah,
to the skeleton system in those stilettos.
okay.
Yeah,
That's good. Yeah. I like to wear some stilettos, but they don't feel good. Like they never feel good.
you know.
So I have a question back to the like when I do teach my warrior rhythm class and I'm in part of my like spiel when I see there's new people in class and I'm managing their expectations and quickly describing the format, I always add in there that it is barefoot, but that
Mhm.
they're welcome to keep their shoes on if they prefer. I don't let them wear socks unless they're like grippy socks because I don't want them to slip on the floor.
Mhm.
Is there sometimes I don't like when people wear a shoe on a yoga mat. So some people want to like sometimes maybe like less than 1% of students that take my class will want to keep shoes on. But I feel like that creates the shoe on the yoga mat almost too much grip on too much grip, the grip of the mat and the grip of the shoe. So like pivoting from like maybe warrior one into a low lunge or something, it feels like there's a lot of torque on the knee. So I don't know. I just struggle with language around wearing shoes, but I feel like some people want to keep them on for foot support. Do you have any advice for me or for other instructors out there regarding
Yeah.
like shoes on a mat?
Yeah, that's actually a really great point. And that explaining that when you're cueing it, obviously it's another element of a cue, is maybe how they pivot from warrior one to warrior two, right? It's just saying like, okay, I need you to kind of like lift the toes and rotate or
Yes.
something, right?
Yes.
or that's where doing certain content pieces or speaking to them and saying like, these are potential suggestions for support that is not a whole shoe. There is something that's called an elastic arch strap. So it's like 3 inches wide and it slides on the foot and it will hug the arch and it will lift all of the structures of the foot. And
Wow.
it's just a band that sits around the middle of the foot. That is oftentimes what I recommend to people. So, like Pilates instructors who are starting to get plantar fascial symptoms from just
Yeah.
standing all day on the floor, I will say, I understand that you may not want to be wearing sneakers as you're teaching Pilates to right to the practice. But could you wear an elastic arch strap? You can get them on Amazon. There's one by
Okay.
Fix. That to me, that's my favorite one. And that's what they could do. And then you could say, so we're still getting you support, but
Mhm.
you're getting a little bit more of the feel of the subtlety of the movement that you need. Plus, you are able to pivot and do these different rotations without too much traction from the shoe on the mat, which can definitely torque the knee, right?
Mhm.
Like that's what I would say to educate them. Uh,
Yes. Yeah,
maybe
that's kind of what
look
I
at
usually
the thing and
say.
give it to them.
Wait, say that again.
I would create like a little, because I don't know how they're encountering you if they're like in a physical class, and you could say,
Hmm.
hey, this just check this out, to understand. And people don't know what they don't know, right? So they're probably like, I've always taken group exercise with my shoes on.
Yeah.
And I associate things kind of like a boxing class or whatever, something a little bit more high intensity with shoes.
Yeah.
But technically, that's not correct because boxers are barefoot.
Yeah.
So that makes no sense, right? Yeah, I know the foot can tolerate it. So it's just this, it's a misconception that consumers have because of mass media marketing.
Got it.
How do we educate them on top of that and empower them that they can make their own decisions, even though Hoka does a really great job of doing ads and is convincing me I need to wear them, right? So
Mm,
how
right.
do you kind of you have to think for yourself outside of
Yeah.
media driven decision making.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and then honestly say, you know what? Try it for the first 5 minutes, and if you
Yes.
don't like
Yeah.
it, then
Yeah.
yeah.
Great. What about cycle? Like I'm always trying to get my students to invest in cycle shoes because I've been cycling for 25 years in
Yep.
teaching. And if the you know how like once a year you forget your cycle shoes at home on accident and you get to the gym and you're like, oh no, I have to teach in normal shoes. And
Oh yeah, first.
my feet hurt every time. Every time my feet hurt.
Yeah. So that's another one. So there is the student might not understand this, but the way that you create torque and power from the pedal needs it to be
Yeah.
a stiff apparatus is kind of what I'm thinking, but like a
Yeah.
stiff platform.
Yeah.
So there is a very specific reason. There you are never rolling through kind of these. This is called a lever of the foot when you do like a calf raise. For those that are
Okay.
not watching, if you do a calf raise and you look at your foot, that's called a lever. Your foot never achieves that. But that's actually what's starting to happen when you wear a traditional shoe, which I've also done, is I've worn minimal shoes cycling and I'm like, what the am I doing? Right? This is so bad. Um, and it puts undue pressure on the foot. So you actually need to keep the flat platform because the pedal is clipped on the front of the shoe. So the stiffness of the shoe translates so that pressure stays even across the forefoot and the rear foot. You
Right.
need that. If not, you're putting a lot of forefoot pressure because of the clip or the pedal,
Yeah.
right? Where your foot sits in the cage. It's really just the forefoot. Which is not necessary. And then it's changing the mechanics. You're working way harder than you should be because you just can't
Yeah, it
lift.
feels like a
So,
loss of efficiency.
yes, I'm also a huge fan of clipping versus cages because of that same mechanism. The mechanism is different. Um, I think similar to that is giving them analogies of what they could connect to and say, just like a snowboarder or a skier, it's actually the safety of the foot and your knee and your hip. This is a safety thing. This is not you're trying to sell them to buy a shoe so you get a commission.
Right.
This is a safety thing,
Yeah.
right? And
This is stay pain-free so you can keep coming back.
yes, and you are going to actually recruit the muscles differently when you have the shoe. So you are going to get more out of the workout. And honestly, if you said that to someone,
Yeah, they
oh my
want to
God, I'm getting 50% of the return of what I should be by using that. So what am I doing for 45 minutes?
The other thing I like about cycle shoes is that they do align the foot, like the ball of the foot over the center of the pedal. Whereas I see a lot of times, like women with small feet, for example, that don't have cycle shoes. They
Yep.
just push their foot all the way into the cage because they think it's supposed to go all the way in there and it was less likely to fall out. But then they have like their arch over the the
Yeah.
pedal. And so that's bad, I'm sure. I know for the foot too. And then they're like, what, my feet, why are my feet numb?
Yeah.
My feet went numb in your class. Well, yeah. So
Yes. Yeah. I actually don't remember how I taught spinning back in the day, and then I did track cycling. So I did a lot of cycling and like also on a competitive level. Then I hurt myself. So kind of nix that. So I don't are cycling shoes like
yeah,
$100?
yeah, like $100.
Okay. Okay. It's
Yeah.
it's like the uniform.
And
Just say it's the uniform.
they last forever. I just tell people I pretty regularly make an announcement in class, like if you haven't yet invested in cycle shoes, you're worth it. And $100, put it on a gift list for yourself and they will last forever.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree.
So what kinds of injuries? Okay, well, you talked about Pilates instructors and plantar fasciitis. I know I've had intermittent bouts of plantar fasciitis, and that's something we hear about. How our participants come to us with their injury complaints and stuff like that, and we always have to stay in our scope of practice. Side note: stay in your scope of practice. But
Yeah.
what types of? I mean, plantar fasciitis, I'm sure, but what else do we see? Do you like in group fitness? Like, what other problems do people tend to develop with their feet?
Yeah, so definitely plantar fasciitis or really any type of heel pain. Could be
Okay.
plantar heel pain or bottom of foot heel pain. That's typically your plantar fasciitis. Back of heel pain, that's a little bit more of your Achilles tendonitis.
Okay.
Sometimes people will categorize things as ankle pain. And the inside of the ankle, there's a tendon called the post-tib tendon, which is the arch stabilizer of the foot. So that could be another tendonitis, right? That's essentially saying the foot is unlocking in an uncontrolled way that can stress that tendon, this post-tib tendon.
Okay.
On the outside of the ankle, that's where your perineals sit. So
Yeah.
that's those run into your IT band. So
Those are always fatigued on me.
yes. So then that's a lateral ankle stability component. So that could be if you're doing a lot of kind of jumping to a single leg, rotating single leg, anything single leg, you're going to be using the perineals. We have that side. Of course, if people are on the ball of the foot a lot, thinking kind of like a dance-based or even some of the yoga movements where, like you were saying, burpees, so they're jumping back and they're landing on their forefoot. You could get a metatarsalgia. Metatarsalgia just means ball of foot pain. That could be a neuroma. That could be an extension of your plantar fascia into the ball of the foot. Of course, we have bunions and hammer toes. Stress fractures, if you're getting a lot of load to the foot that's uncontrolled. Those are probably the big ones that we would be seeing.
I've thought I've had stress fractures in one of my feet before. I sorry, I know I'm not this isn't like a free office visit here over Zoom, but there have been a couple periods in my life where maybe 3 where my left foot when I get out of bed in the morning is killing me, like the bones, like the little tiny metatarsals. Wait, are those the metatarsals, the longer ones at the top of the foot? Yeah, there's like it's like someone stabbing me with a knife and I can't even put my weight on it in the morning. Then I like hobble around, and then I go teach my class and then I'm pain-free. I don't know what, but I'm pain-free. And then the next morning I can't walk and that'll go on for like 6 months. And then where there's morning severe pain that dissipates and Groundhog Day, it happens again the next day and eventually it stops. But to this day, when I get out of bed, I'm always a little afraid of I'm not afraid of stepping down, but I have like a kinesthetic memory of like my left foot's gonna hurt when I touch the floor. It doesn't right now, but
yeah. So a lot of that is probably joint stiffness. That's what I would put it as. So we have our foot, we have a rear foot, midfoot, forefoot, like the back of the foot, and then the middle foot, and the front of the foot. The middle of our foot is designed to kind of counter rotate on itself. And again, if people are not seeing the video, what I'm doing, but I'm rotating one way. Think if you were like to
like
twist,
wringing out a washcloth.
Yeah, right. If you were wringing out a washcloth, right? So you're going in this opposite motion. That's what happens along the joints of your midfoot. And your midfoot has to be able to lock and unlock with every step that you take. If you're doing a lot of movements and maybe you have just a little bit less foot recovery or foot strengthening or a little TLC, something to your foot, what happens is those small little joints get inflamed. And then at night, all of the inflammation in our body and our joints
of course
gets sticky. So, right, that's your stiffness. So I wake up with my low back super stiff. And it's years of a gymnast and all the stuff that I've done, that I'm just like, whoo, and then it warms up, right? It's very similar, right? All of our tissue just contracts down on itself. That's also why a classic plantar fasciitis, people will wake up instead of the pain on the top of the foot that you have, it is like a knife stabbing in their heel. Same thing. It's just that your plantar fascia got sticky. It tacked down on itself over the night, and now you're stepping and you're essentially.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So I have one more question, and then I have some specific questions about some of the products you offer. But before we go there, the foot itself, I know you said there's like 28 muscles, but isn't there something about, like, I know that like Western medicine or Eastern medicine, would say that we have like the meridians and those pressure points. And isn't there something about the nerves in the foot that kind of innervate the body in different ways?
So that would be reflexology. And I'm not reflexology trained. I do refer patients to reflexology. I love the science of it. I've traveled a lot to Asia teaching. So I've spent a lot of time kind of in the Eastern practice of reflexology, acupressure. They're very into foot pressure points and things like that. So that I am a proponent of. I don't have background knowledge on it. What I can say from more of a Western perspective is our vagus nerve, which is kind of this parasympathetic autonomic nervous system. Am I safe? Am I not safe? That whole side of things, right? Of how we calm the nervous system and our state. That does connect down to our feet. So that's where a foot massage, as an example, reflexology, just foot massage, if you want to think of it that way, is very calming to the autonomic nervous system through that. So that way we could connect to. And then there's other.
I feel like those little rubber, the pattern, those little knobs, the texture, that pattern that you have on the ball and on the, like, it just seems like that, it just feels like that would awaken like the system. I don't know.
Well, yes. So that's a different mechanism. So the nerve on the Naboso products, or the texture that the Naboso products is stimulating on the nerve, is mechanoception. So it's touch. That falls under exteroception, which is somatosensory. So trying to connect it, which means that if it wakes up the nerves in the feet of how we feel our feet, we actually have better balance. We move with more of a grace and an ease and an efficiency because we feel the ground and our muscles are connecting and we are stabilizing faster. We have that method.
Okay.
However, um, there's some studies that were kind of in this category of emotional regulation and things like that. People will say that touch is nature's natural analgesic. So when you feel your body like a weighted blanket, you feel your body, it is very calming to your autonomic nervous system. It downregulates. You could fall asleep faster. You feel
Yeah.
more emotionally regulated. That's also where the products could fall in as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so speaking of your products, if so, and you're talking to me specifically also because I'm like ready to adopt. I'm ready to start caring for my feet. I need to. So, I have the ball and I have the socks and I have the wobble board and I'm really interested in getting the roller, the rolling stick. So,
Yep.
okay, so you had mentioned at the top of the episode, like the 2-minute routine, just pop the ball in half, keep it in your bathroom, set it on the floor, roll around on it or step on it while you're brushing your teeth. Okay, so what are some things that I could do, that we could do? People like me who have not been caring or thinking about our feet, but probably should be. What are some quick and easy things we could do to care for our feet using some of the Naboso products?
Yes. So for sure, the narrow ball, like you said, right? Keep it split in the two pieces. When you brush your teeth, release your feet 2 minutes in the morning, 2 minutes in the evening, right? Of course, you could do longer when you put on your makeup and stuff. Just leave it split open. Do
And
that.
do you just step or do you roll around?
Step. You're just
Okay.
going to hold the pressure. All of our products come
Okay.
with QR codes. You scan the QR code, it takes you to a video. You
Perfect.
get tutorial videos on every single product for that.
Perfect.
The other Naboso product that's super easy to incorporate are our toe spacers. So the toe spacers, you would slide these on. End of the day, you could do these when you do your workout also. So you
Okay.
could have these on your feet. This is especially good during the workout if you have hammer toes or bunions. Then you
What's a hammer toe?
where your toes contract in.
Oh, okay.
Yep,
Oh,
so a contracture of your toes. That actually decreases balance. So if people are doing something that's balance-based, which walking is balance-based, so theoretically everything is balance-based, then you would want to use toe spacers to improve your balance and better connect to the floor. So we have the toe spacers.
okay.
Okay, so toe spacers when we are doing the workout, end of the day, walking around, easy peasy. The Neuro stick that you happen to mention. So this is a massage stick with the texture.
Oh, I want
You
that.
can really your lower leg muscles. And again, you're talking like 2 minutes, right? Like I would leave it next to your bed on the nightstand or wherever and just do like
Yeah.
a quick little something,
Or
something.
like I'm always having to take work calls, like AirPods in, hands free, taking a work call.
Perfect, right?
Yeah.
Super easy. The socks that you had mentioned, the socks have the same texture on the inside. So the texture, this is honestly one of my favorite ones. So slide it on into the day and just walk around and do what you were going to do. Kind of like I said with the toe spacers. So
Okay.
literally just put them on, walk around. I love them for flying. So I always fly with the Naboso socks because they keep the circulation. Circulation is super important when you're flying.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes.
they
Yes.
are my go-to flying sock. They're my go-to recovery sock.
Oh my.
I actually will put, you won't damage them if you put any sort of like foot cream or whatever, right?
Oh, okay.
If you're barefoot all the time and you're doing your barefoot movements, then your skin of your feet, you have to take care of that also. So I will do my foot cream care products and then I put the Naboso socks on. So you could do
Oh,
that as well.
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So the textured knobs go on the inside facing.
Yes, that is what's touching your foot. You always want the skin of your
Awesome.
foot to touch
That
the
looks
texture.
awesome. How did you get the patent? I mean, not how did you get the patent, but how did you decide on the shape and spacing and texture? Like, how did you end up figuring that out?
Yeah, actually, thank you for asking that because it's not just arbitrary. I did not make
Yeah.
it up. So there is all of the Naboso products are actually based off of textured research. So there's
Hmm.
textured insole research that has been done for, I don't know, 10 years, something like that. And when I was in the barefoot space, traveling around, talking about barefoot science and shoes and just this whole category, people then started asking me and saying, well, if I'm going to take my athlete or my student's shoes off and go barefoot, well, which surface should I stand on? What mat? Does it matter if I'm on a yoga mat, a hardwood floor, wrestling mat, turf, rubber? Like, what does it matter, right? So I started researching surfaces and what your foot is touching, which then led me to this textured insole research.
Okay.
That research showed all this powerful benefit of using texture, right? Foot strength, balance, fall reduction, all these things. But then no one did anything with the research. They would just research it and publish it and then be like, that's great. And I was like, no, you have to use this research to help people, right? So that's actually what I did. So it's based off of this research, and then some of the researchers, there's this one specifically, her name is Hatton, she's out of Australia. She started researching a pyramid versus a circle, versus this versus a that. And then when you look at the nerve that we're stimulating, so we're stimulating what's called an SA1 Merkel disc. It's a very specific nerve. It's the braille. It has a spatial acuity of 1 millimeter. What that means is if the pyramid peaks are too far apart, well, clearly that's 2 points, right? If the pyramid peaks are too close, your brain will read it as a blob, like 1 point, not 2 points. So how far do the pyramids have to be subtle enough to stimulate 2-point discrimination? That's yeah.
So cool.
Yeah. So that's why when people say, oh, then you're no, I got a nubby ball. I'm like, it's not a nubby ball. A very specific neurosensory stimulus, right? And I've obviously just spent a lot of time thinking about this and researching it, but we have some really, really exciting effects when we work with people who have like MS and Parkinson's and stroke, that they walk in a way that is like, people don't believe that our products do this when they see someone with Parkinson's, like they're rowing their cane down and they're just like, oh my God. And they're just like cruising. Oh my God. And like some of the videos that I see, I literally have to start crying because these people are like, I can walk like this again. So that's why I'm like, there's something to the specificity of the texture that is empowering the nervous system. And it's not just for people with neurological issues. It's for every human being. I'm very passionate on the texture.
No, I love it. That is incredible. That's brilliant. So neat. Okay, so tell us where we can tell us about the website, Naboso. It's naboso.com. And give us and where can we, and it's Naboso Technology, I think _technology on Instagram, right?
Yep. If you just start searching Naboso, you will then it'll pop up
everywhere. Like you've built an enormous dynasty. Like it's huge. Your company is huge. It's everywhere. And you're right. I did stumble upon like a million YouTube videos too.
Yeah, we have a lot of content. That is an extension of my education company, and I know that you're in the space of education.
Yeah, tell us about that, your certification and stuff like that. Give us all the lowdown, and then we got to get a confession out of you.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay. So, first one is, so I do see patients. Most of my patients are virtual.
Okay.
My patient website is thefunctionalfootdoc.com. So that's where I see patients. So that can funnel to that.
So anyone can see you. You do virtual.
Anyone can see me virtually. I actually see patients all around the world. Most of my patients are actually not in the United States. So that is something. I treat everything. And then my education company is EBFA Global. That's my education company. That links out to our YouTube. We have online courses. I do small little webinars. You could do 60-minute courses.
And that's a certification to, what is that? Is that for instructors?
Yes. So instructors and personal trainers.
Awesome.
Yes, I have a barefoot workout called Bear. It's a barefoot balance training based workout that I created in 2014, something like that. And then, so that's been around for like 10 years. So I have that's through EBFA, lots of education content. I have 2 books that I've written, which are really great for people to just get an idea of this. First one is called Barefoot Strong. Second one I just launched a week ago. That's called Sensory Sapiens.
What? Congratulations. Congratulations.
That was a task in itself.
Oh my goodness.
So, but that's everything that we were talking about, like how I love sensory and everything. That's built into those two books. You can find them on Amazon. They're also on the Naboso website, and then the Naboso website
And
for
we'll
all of
put it in our show notes too. All of these links, all of them.
Awesome. Thank
Carry
you.
on. Yeah.
And then the Naboso products is naboso.com. So just in case people are trying to see, it's Naboso, naboso.com. Fun fact, Naboso is a Czech word that means barefoot. So that's why I chose that word.
It's Czech, huh?
It's Czech. Yep. Watched
Okay.
it. So, and then, so that's the Naboso products. Everything you can find on YouTube. If you just search my name, if you search Naboso, you can find hundreds and hundreds of videos on YouTube, and then of course on Instagram as well.
Yeah. And I have not officially announced it yet to our warrior instructor community, but we are establishing a partnership, and our instructors can receive a 20% off discount. And so I'll be officially launching that this week. I wanted to get this podcast out there first, but we're also going to give our listeners today that same discount code. So Warrior20, Warriors all caps, at naboso.com. So yeah, get you some neural balls. Let's brush our teeth and take care of our feet.
Yes. So like the neural ball as an example is, so with the discount, it would be $24. So it is, you get the ball, the two domes, and then there's a little ball inside. So we really try to make it be products that are a price point that really delivers. So you have a vast utility to it as well. And then just, we'll get addicted to the neural ball.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Okay, so we do end the show with a little confession. Did you have anything for us? It can be cute, it can be serious, it can be silly, it can be educational, anything.
Yeah, so my confession that some people know about me, but I am a high heel addict. And that, yes, I'm very into my stilettos, and I was so into my stilettos back when I was going to podiatry school, 2004 to 2008. I literally wore high heels to school every single day.
Oh my gosh, you're
New
next.
York City. I would walk around New York City in 3-inch heels for like a good year.
Wait, so is this why you never actually explained, and I know we're like out of time, but why did you end up going into, I mean, you told me when and how, but why did you choose podiatry?
Oh my God.
Is it because of your heel fetish?
Nope. So there were two moments in my life that I realized that I was like supposed to be there in these places or these things. First one was when I moved to New York City, and I was like, oh, like I am home. Like it just, New York City speaks to my soul, and I needed New York when I moved to New York. The second was when I walked into the gym and I said I want to be a personal trainer. And I was like, oh my God. It is like, and I get so emotional because I absolutely love fitness. And I like cannot see the fitness industry not be what it is, like post-COVID and stuff like that. But those were the two most important days of my life, is that. So, sorry, I went to podiatry school.
Oh yeah.
Not feet. I went to podiatry school because I needed to stay in New York City and I needed to stay in the fitness industry. And the only graduate school, professional school that allowed me to do that, because in New York City, there aren't medical schools. You can't be in New York City. The only one was podiatry school.
No way. And then, it gives me chills, but it ended up being something that you are and were passionate about.
Yeah.
Oh.
And when I first went, I was like, what the hell am I doing? Feet are disgusting. I was just like, what am I doing? And then I just saw, and it like, I don't know, that is so fascinating the way that the world works, that I was
all
like,
woven together.
Grateful every day that I did that, because I was like, you know what? This podiatry thing is an untapped market.
That's right. I was just thinking that. Like, I was just thinking, so you went because it was like kind of your only choice to stay in stuff like that and stay doing fitness. Okay. Now I understand why that story started with how it did. So you went there kind of out of necessity, but it was a gold mine. I mean, not a gold mine, but I mean, it was a gold mine metaphorically, maybe literally, I don't know. But had you gone into like orthopedics or gynecology, or like you picked a niche that was A, untapped, and B, right before the dawning of the barefoot craze and evolution and all that stuff. And then plus you just have the you have the, like, whatever it's called, I don't know, it's entrepreneurial spirit, the
Yeah,
confidence,
I definitely saw the opportunity and I seized it, and I was
I
like,
was just gonna say, saw it and seized it. There's just like not everyone sees it, and then not everyone who sees it will seize it. So that's really a beautiful story. I'm so happy to get to know you a little bit today. Finally.
I know. Now we're gonna be like best buds at the
I know. I was like, your nails match my earrings. Like,
Oh, I know these are my ballroom nails. So yeah.
So, all right. Well, thank you so much for spending time with me and with this amazing audience. And we're all going to start taking better care of our feet, people. Check out the show notes and make sure you follow Emily. And what about your account? Do you have like your own account or just Naboso?
Yep. No. So my account is Dr. Emily DPM.
Oh yeah, that's right. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
Amazing. Thank you.
Okay, bye everybody.
Thank you for joining in on the Confessions of a Group X Instructor podcast. If you're interested in becoming a warrior instructor, go to warriorinstructors.com. But if you want more and found this episode amazing, please give us a rating. And with a simple click to subscribe, we'll invite you back to our next episode. So remember, be brave, be bold, be blessed. And above all, listen, learn, love.